Nelson Mandela visited America, but the HOA charged him extra because he was black. His response shocked everyone. When Nelson Mandela, global icon of peace, dignity, and equality visited a quiet American neighborhood for a private retreat, he expected tranquility, not trouble. But the moment he stepped onto the property, something was off. The Homeowners Association, HOA, sent him a letter demanding extra charges, claiming it was due to community appearance standards. But residents whispered something else, something uglier. Mandela, the man who dismantled apartheid, was being targeted for the color of his skin again. The world thought those days were behind us. But what did he did next? It didn't just silence the HOA, it made international headlines. Before we dive in, please support us by subscribe, like and share for more with activating the notification bell. Thank you. In the late summer of 1993, just months before he would become president of South Africa, Nelson Mandela traveled quietly to the United States for a private visit. It wasn't for a press tour or political summit. This time, he wanted rest. His team arranged to stay in a wealthy, gated community in suburban Virginia, chosen for its peaceful surroundings and strict privacy protocols. The community, lined with pristine white fences and neatly clipped hedges, rarely saw visitors, let alone someone of Mandela's stature. When the black limousine rolled up to the colonial-style vacation home on Maple Hill Lane, only a few residents knew who had arrived. But by sundown, whispers had already started. Mrs. Greta Jenkins, HOA board member and neighborhood watchdog, spotted the entourage and called an emergency meeting. "We have procedures," she snapped. "Rentals must be approved. Additional guests require extra payment. We can't just allow anyone to show up." Though Mandela's visit met all regulations, the HOA sent a notice within 24 hours. An extra $950 fee was being added to the rental for security, wear and tear, and non-resident impact. The hosting homeowner, a white American civil rights professor named Dr. Alan Trevors, was confused. No guest has ever been charged extra, and certainly not for appearance impact. What is that supposed to mean? When he questioned the board, the response was brief: unusual guest traffic, media risk, and neighborhood image maintenance. But Mandela hadn't even made a public appearance yet. He had simply arrived he was already being treated differently. Dr. Trevors felt personally offended. As someone who had marched for civil rights, written papers about global equity, and admired Mandela his entire life, the injustice hit hard. He considered going to the local press, but paused when Mandela told him gently, "Let them show themselves. Our response will be in how we carry ourselves." Still, Mandela's team kept logs. They began recording interactions. One assistant noted that trash pickups were mysteriously delayed, while another reported odd phone calls to the property's landline. The subtle signals were clear. Mandela's presence was not welcomed by everyone. Mandela remained calm. He sat on the back porch of the house, sipping tea with Dr. Trevors. Watching the sun filter through the oaks. "It seems even in a new land, the shadow of old thinking still lingers," Mandela said softly. "But injustice rarely announces itself with horns and drums, it prefers whispers." Within days, Mandela noticed the sideways glances. Residents walking their dogs would pause, then quickly turn around. A jogger snapped a photo, then ducked behind a hedge. Trash cans were suddenly left accidentally near his car. One neighbor even filed a complaint about suspicious music, referring to a soft South African choir Mandela played in the evening. HOA board members claimed to be neutral, but more complaints rolled in. Some cited too many unfamiliar vehicles. Others said his security detail made them feel on edge. A delivery driver was stopped at the gate and interrogated for 15 minutes simply because he had a package labeled Mandela. Dr. Trevors was furious. "This is racism, plain and simple. We need to speak up." But Mandela cautioned patience. "Let them show the world who they are, and then the truth will speak louder than anything we could say." Meanwhile, the HOA doubled down. They claimed the additional guest brought potential media intrusion and unwelcome attention, insisting the fee stood. The letter ended ominously. "This is our final notice. Payment expected within 3 days." Mandela chuckled. When he read it, "They are charging me for being myself at a community event that weekend." Mandela attended briefly, hoping to extend goodwill. He greeted everyone with a smile, shook hands, and even helped a woman pick up groceries. She dropped. Yet, he overheard one resident whisper, "He doesn't look presidential. I thought he'd be more polished." The story might have ended there, just another case of quiet racism, but the spark that would set everything ablaze came from a young girl named Aisha, age 10, who lived down the street. Aisha's family was one of the few black families in the neighborhood. Her parents were professionals, her mother, a nurse, her father, an IT engineer, and they had always taught her about Mandela's legacy. When Aisha saw him in the yard one morning, she couldn't believe her eyes. "That's him. That's really him." Her parents warned her not to disturb him, but one afternoon, Aisha left something in his mailbox, a handwritten note in blue crayon. "Dear Mr. Mandela, My parents told me you were brave. I think you're brave too. If they are mean to you, it's not your fault. They were mean to my mom once too. Thank you for being here. Love, Aisha. Mandela was deeply moved. He wrote back with a short thank you note and an invitation for her family to visit. That evening, they sat together on the porch, sharing stories. But Aisha's mother took a photo of the moment and posted it online with a simple caption. My daughter just met Nelson Mandela. He was charged extra by the HOA because he's black in America. Within hours, the post was shared thousands of times. By morning, it was trending on Twitter. News vans arrived by noon. CNN, MSNBC, BBC, all wanted a word. The HOA panicked. Suddenly, the same neighbors who avoided Mandela were now friendly. Greta Jenkins knocked on the door personally to clear the air. We never meant anything personal, she said, her voice tight. Just standard procedure. Mandela didn't raise his voice. He simply looked her in the eye and said, if it was truly standard, you would have done the same to every guest. Did you? She had no answer. Meanwhile, a reporter from South Africa called Mandela's office and asked if it was true. His spokesperson confirmed the details. Suddenly, the story wasn't just American, it was global. Mandela, the man who survived prison for 27 years, was being discriminated against on vacation in America. The irony was staggering and the outrage was immediate as the media frenzy built. Mandela agreed to one statement, delivered not in anger, but with clarity. Standing beside Dr. Trevor's and Aisha's family, Mandela gave a short speech outside the house. No teleprompters, just truth. Wherever injustice exists, no matter how small, we must face it. It does not matter if the chains are made of iron or paperwork. Racism wears many suits, some loud, others quiet, but we must never bow to it. Not in South Africa, not in America, not in a neighborhood with fences. The crowd, a mix of journalists and residents, stood silently. He continued, I did not come here to fight. I came here to rest. But perhaps this moment was not for me but for others to see themselves more clearly. Dr. Trevors followed up, stating he would file a formal complaint against the HOA. Civil rights attorneys stepped in. A petition circulated for Jenkins to step down. Celebrities spoke out. Even President Bill Clinton sent a personal message of apology in support. The HOA reversed the fee and issued a public apology, but the damage was done. Mandela didn't need revenge. His presence alone had revealed everything. Mandela ended with a final message. We do not rise by pointing fingers. We rise by shining light. And in this light, may we all see more clearly. After the media quieted, Mandela stayed one more week. Aisha visited daily, and the Trevors' home became a quiet place of reflection and community. When Mandela finally departed, he left behind something more powerful than a speech. He left a mirror, one that forced the neighborhood, and millions watching, to ask, what kind of people are we, when power arrives in humble form? The HOA restructured. Jenkins resigned. The neighborhood, once proud of its rules, rewrote them. The new guidelines included an anti-discrimination clause named Mandela's Principle. Aisha would later go on to become a human rights attorney, crediting that moment as her awakening. Years later, in a televised interview, she recalled the day with tears in her eyes. He saw me. He didn't just read my letter, he heard my heart. As for Mandela, he returned to South Africa and went on to lead his country to its first free elections. He never mentioned the HOA incident again in public, but those who were there say it changed them. Not through outrage, but by showing what calm dignity can do when it faces quiet hate. One man, one letter, one neighborhood's ugly truth, exposed not through anger, but through grace. Nelson Mandela didn't need to yell to shake the world. He just had to show up.